19th. This is the Consolidated Board of Equalization. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, good morning. Thank you. We have a quorum with our 3 members here. Our first agenda item is to convene as a Consolidated Board of Equalization. So, do we need to make a motion for that? If so, do I have a motion?
I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I'll call the roll.
Commissioner Gibbons,
Yes.
Commissioner Sean,
Yes.
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes. Okay, so we're sitting as the Consolidated Board of Equalization now, and I've got a consent agenda item here. It's to approve administrative changes as presented pursuant to SDCL 10-11-72. Carla, do you want to present on that or not?
are you here from the city?
They should be in your,
Nothing
they should be
here
in your clerk
blank.
agenda, under consent, administrative. Traditionally, we have done this in one motion. There are 5 appeals in the consent or administrative changes docket. Those are either corrections that we have made after having a conversation with the appellant, or they are in agreement with our assessment based on maybe a current appraisal, changes. There are 5 items in that consent agenda.
Okay, I'm going to take a moment here and
Yes. Where did you say that was again?
bring that up.
So it's in your clerk, your civic clerk,
Okay.
under consent agenda.
All right.
So go to the regular website for the county, and then go to agendas and minutes.
Is it the, this one, Jake?
If I may, Chairman Aaron's, I would first like to go through and do a brief presentation on the information that you'll have before you.
Sure,
Some information in regards to the assessment process.
let's just give it 1 minute. I think Commissioner Gibbon over there is trying to pull up the consent agenda,
I got nothing here.
and he doesn't have a login, so, but he's got a book.
Okay.
And do you see that Excel spreadsheet in front of you there?
This one here?
Yes,
Yeah.
I know it's hard to read. That is the administrative changes presented by the Board of Equalization. So once we get everybody up on the same sheet of music here, we, will take some action on that, so.
I didn't do this. The school doesn't have any.
Okay. Morning. So this is where we're at right now.
I am.
Yes. Yes.
Olseth, Lemmer, Jarman, Bobzian,
Yes.
and Van Vorst. That's what I have too. And those look like they all come from Canton.
That is correct.
Does everybody have that document in front of them now?
Yes.
Okay. Well, if there's no objection, I will entertain a motion to approve the administrative changes presented in that document.
I also move, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Got a motion and a second. Will the clerk call the roll?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Sean,
Aye.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine. I'll abstain.
Okay, the motion to approve the administrative changes presented pursuant to SDCL 10-1172 passes. And Carla, you said you wanted to make some remarks first, is that right?
Yes, I did put together a handbook for each one of you in regards to the process today. Also within good morning, Carla Gosen, Director of Equalization. Welcome to Consolidated Board of Equalization. These appeals are held jointly with the City of Canton, the School District of Canton, and 3 of the County Board of Equalization members. I did put together a handbook, which I'd like to briefly go through before we get started on the appeals. Our hearing for the first appeal will begin at 8 a.m.
9 a.m.
Or, excuse me, 9 a.m., yes, thank you. 8 a.m. is when I started. The handbook that I have put on your tables will look like this, and it's paper clipped. There are no pages on it. This is a work in progress. You are my test group for this handbook. So on page 2, we talk about County Board of Equalization a lot in this handbook, but it also refers to the Consolidated Board, which makes up the members that are present. Within the handbook, it gives you some tax relief programs by the South Dakota Codified Law. I am not going to go over each one of those individually. We will address those exemptions and property tax relief programs on Thursday afternoon. I would like to have you refer to this page, and I have .cam up. And it's the powers
There's no book, you were looking at the book?
of the Equalization Board. And it's highlighted in yellow.
Give me a book.
These next few pages is where I'm going to start my presentation. We have the powers of the County Board of Equalization, but we also have the powers of the Consolidated Board. And those are in 10-1171 and South Dakota Codified Law 10-1172. You folks have the authority to correct any clerical errors of the assessment rule. Those were done through the consent agenda. So that was to correct any clerical errors or any agreement type appeals with the appellant. You also have the authority to hear appeals from individuals regarding total assessments, the classification, and the equalization of assessed values. You have the authority to equalize between the taxing districts and between classes of property. The board shall raise or lower, if necessary, each class of property on a percentage basis, covering the class as a whole within the assessment district. My interpretation of that particular section 4 would be if the city of Canton was being assessed at a higher rate than the county as a whole. I'll go through some of the statistics to show you where that is not the case. I also think subsection 4 is put in there for you if like commercial properties were being assessed higher than residential properties. That's my interpretation of subsection 4. I want to go back to South Dakota Codified Law 10-6-33. These are This particular law is put in place where the directors of equalization look at three approaches to value. We have the cost, market, and income. And we look at only sales that are arm's length transaction, listed on the open market, willing buyer, willing seller, no force of any sort within that sale, that we're to use those types of sales. And also I highlighted in determining the value, the true and full value of property, the director of equalization may not adopt a lower or different standard of value because it serves as a basis for taxation. How I interpret that is many times we hear appeals where they can't afford taxes. My taxes are too high. I am not to adjust their value because they can't afford their taxes. I am to assess their value based on three approaches to value and to be within market value. Do you want to go back and give some information in regards to some statistics that I would like to share with you? The appraisers work very hard at the job that they do. And I think that we get scored on how well we do through the appeal process, and sometimes it's on the local and county level, how we present our information, on how well we do our statistics. But a couple other things I wanted to bring forth to the board is we've had 3 single-family properties that have appealed all the way to the State Board of Equalization, and we have defended our value and won each one of those appeals. We've had 3 go, and we've been successful on 3 of those single-family properties. We've had a circuit court win that was on a commercial property, and that was a multifamily property. It went to local, county, state, and then circuit, and we also won that appeal. I would like to strongly urge you not to change the assessed value to correct a road, flood, or bridge problem. Sometimes we hear appeals where flooding, my road there's potholes in my road, the bridge is not operational. Those type of adjustments or those type of problems aren't necessarily an assessment issue. They're bringing forth some information to you to correct those, but not through, it's easy to correct it through an assessment process, but that's not what the appeals process is used for, to correct a flooding issue. We'll show you for the next 3 days where folks have written in their appeal that there are flooding issues. We will show you sales where there are the same type of situations on the comparable properties, the risk of the flood, it's within a flood plain, and it's essentially sometimes next door. Those flooding, road, or bridge problems, from what we can tell through the assessment process, isn't enough information or no information for us to make an adjustment. I want to talk a little bit about the certification of an appraiser assessor in our office. There are 12 of us that are certified in the office. Myself, Ethan, and 10 appraisers upstairs that they're on the ground type assessors. They're going out and they're collecting the data. Through the state of South Dakota, there are 5 self-study courses that they are to do, and they are to do this within a 12-month time frame. They attend and have to pass a week-long schooling by the South Dakota Department of Revenue. It's called the Basics course. There's a certification test that they take at the end of their 5 self-study and basics. They take the certification test, and then they have 12 months of on-the-job training. So all of that has to be met within their first 12 months. And then we have continue training. We're required to take USPAP, which is a Uniform Standards of Professional Appraisal Practices. This is not only done through the assessor's office. Fee appraisers must also attend a USPAP course. We are to attend 3 additional schools, and this is done in a 5-year time frame. One of which is an IAAO schooling, which is an International Association of Assessing Officers. We are to attend 3 conferences, one of which has to be a South Dakota conference. And we also attend 2 workshops approved by the Department of Revenue. So we have to do this continue education type training to hold or maintain our certification requirements by the South Dakota, by South Dakota law. We don't stop there at our training. We're constantly training. I've developed many courses for the Lincoln County Assessor's Office, some of which are kitchen and baths, interior finish, roofs, doors, windows, design and layout, many hours of continued training through the assessment office. And this type of in-house training is so we are all looking at characteristics of a property the same way. And that's going to help equalize and be fair in our assessments. In addition, we have many years of experience up in our office, and we also have the Vanguard, which is our their mass appraisal company. We have the software that we're using to come up with our valuations. They come in and do a 1-day workshop specific to Lincoln County each year for the last 3 years. So many hours of training goes into what our assessor's office and our appraisers do. I wanted to give you a first-hand look at our property record card. And these are property record cards that contain not only the property characteristics of the property, but it also holds the files for all of the owner-occupieds, tax relief programs, building permit information, correspondence, appeals. This file holds all of that property data. And this is your traditional type property record card. It's a card stock, very much like this. It has property characteristics, so when we go on site, we're gathering this type of information on their property. It also has field notes on when we were there, when we inspected it, whether we were able to get inside the property during any type of inspection, whether it be a reappraisal or it's a building permit. So we keep track of all of our information on when we've been in contact with the property owner here. These are very standard type property cards, designed many years ago. We have added, Lincoln County has added some additional features, such as a grade guide worksheet. So this shows us how we came up with their grade. And this is also done through training. We also have many spreadsheets to make sure that we're grading equally, because upstairs, there's 10 appraisers and they have 10 different opinions. This is to make sure our opinions are close, to treat everybody equally. So that's what a traditional property card, and then if there was any accessory type buildings on the property, they would be back here. This is the more new and improved type property record card. This is what our CAMA system, so it's a computer assisted mass appraisal program. This is what our CAMA program generates for a property card. It's everything in our traditional property card plus. So now you're able to see how the value is generated. Before on our traditional card, we said it's 11,600 square feet. We still say it's 11,660 square feet, but it's being valued at $2.10 a square foot. And that's how we're coming up with the valuation. We have a total assessed valuation. If there were any building permits or sales, they would be listed here. Same as on our traditional property card. Page 2 shows you the same type of data information in regards to age, size, grade. Any additions, garages are all listed right here. So this is our main data. And from there, it starts the pricing part of it. So they're saying, the system is saying a 2-story home, the base value is starting at $129,280. And they price out each property characteristic, or each component of the property. The main, the second story, the decks, the garages, the fireplaces, these are all standardized type pricing. We come up with a total replacement value, and then we start minusing out for physical, functional, or economic obsolescence. Your physical is your age. Your functional would be something that's determined through the marketplace. So if we see some, this is just an example, if we see some 1.5 stories where they only have maybe a bathroom on the first level and nothing on, or excuse me, on the second level and no bathroom on the main level, maybe we could determine if there's any functionality with that type of property characteristics, or maybe old and outdated plumbing fixtures, electrical, but that would be tracked through our sales analysis. We have traditionally used this other type obsolescence for our 2-story adjustments, in which we can run many different statistical measures, which I'll show you, and we come up with an adjustment for a certain characteristic. We will put that in the other, and then it's got a header or a subsection that says, okay, we're making this adjustment because of the layout, or this adjustment because of the second story, or this adjustment because it's large. So we will indicate why we're making that adjustment in the other section. This map factor is our market adjustment. So right now, this house has a 5% market adjustment on top of the replacement cost new. And I'll show you how we determine that 5% adjustment. And it's through the market analysis. And then last page of a property record card, I put it right side up, is the sketch. So the sketch tells you, obviously where the decks, the additions are laying in coordination with the structure. mass appraisal versus single property appraisal. Mass appraisal and single property appraisal are very similar in certain characteristics or in certain areas. They're both systematic methods for arriving at an estimate of value. So we're doing mass appraisal and single property appraisal to come up with a value. Mass appraisal is defined as the process of valuing the worth of universe of properties, which is Lincoln County, as of a given date, and that date is by law, South Dakota codified law, that's November 1. In a uniform order, utilizing a common reference for data, which is our CAMA values. And we allow for statistical testing, which is all of our sales ratio analysis. And we'll go through some of that. So the biggest difference between single property and mass appraisal is the amount of sales that we use. So mass appraisal, we're looking at 79 sales to help us determine valuation. A single property appraisal, they're looking at 3 to 4 sales. The information that we provide you through our assessor recommendation, you'll see 3 sales, but those are not the sales we use to determine the valuation of that property. It was through the replacement costs new plus the analyzing of these 79 sales. We go through all these statistical type reports. We go through a 12-month report and a 24-month report to try to determine if we need to make adjustments, how we need to make an adjustment, and when to make an adjustment. This, for Canton, this particular report we put the most weight to. It showed that we grouped Canton into sections 1 through 4. Our Canton section 1 and 3 were low in relevant to 4 and 2. So what we did is in section 1, we increased it 5%, and in section 3, we increased those property values 10%. So now all of Canton is equalized. So when I showed you that property record card on CAMA, we put that 5% market adjustment on there. This was why. They're in section 1 of Canton, and they were sitting at 86.08%. Well, section 2 was sitting at 9. There's unequal there. So we try to equalize it through this type of statistical testing. And we look at design, and we look at layout, and we look at age, and we look at size, and there's, many ways that we run our groupings. But for this particular area, this was our best indicator of why we should be making an adjustment. Here is all of Canton sales. I'm sorry, I'm gonna go really fast because we're running out of time. We started out before any adjustments at 87.48%, and we ended after we're making our 5 and 10% adjustments at 90.47. Lincoln County as a whole, our median level of assessment was at 90.82. So Canton came in at 90.47, very equal to the entire county. Also within your packet, you'll have information in Property Tax 101. That was something that the South Dakota Department of Revenue put together. Thought I'd throw that in for you. And last but not least, I'm gonna go through briefly just what you're about to see. We're gonna have subject property information. We're gonna have some comparables for you to see how we felt that the cost, market, and income, we are within our ranges. We have a most comparable page, homes that we felt were most comparable to the subject property. when we look at the three approaches to value, where our subject property is sitting and our ranges for the cost and market. We have some map, the red is our subject property, the blue are our comparables. And then we'll have any additional information, back pictures, sketches, flood maps, whatever we thought would be helpful for you guys to make a decision. That's it.
Thanks, Carla.
I didn't think I could get through it in a half hour, but there's so much more to, to address the board on the assessment process. I just wanted to give you a very brief overview of what we do.
A lot of information.
Lots of information.
Commissioner Aaron's, we worked through the consent agenda.
We did, I'll turn the meeting over to you now. We're at the 9 o'clock hearing agenda.
Thank you. So we'll go ahead and open as Consolidated Board of Equalization. Sherry, do we need a motion to do that normally?
No, we did that already.
You did that, all right. Well, we'll go ahead with our 9 o'clock hearing then.
Our first appeal is parcel number 200.13.41.006. It's under the name of Michael and Sonia Terrell. It's located at 512 South Bartlett here in Canton. It's a single-family property built in 1979. It's 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, got some lower-level finish. We have a total assessed value of $174,518. We have 3 comparable properties that have sold within the years of 2018 to 2020. The assessor is recommending to make no change to the current assessed value. It meets all 3 criterias in the cost, market, and income approaches. Our most comparable is comparable number 1, built in the same year, same type of grading. It's a little bit larger than our subject property. It sold for $170,000. It also sold in 2014 for $145,000. So that kind of shows you a trend on what housing prices are doing. If there were any building permits or interior remodels, we would also indicate that for you to make the decision that you're about to make. Our subject property is assessed at $150 a square foot. Our cost range is between $121 and $166. Our market indicates comparable prices of the 3 comparables ranging between $116 and $157 a square foot. Subject property is located in the southern part of Canton. We have a couple of comparables. Number 1, comp 1 is the most comparable. That's also located in the southern portion of Canton.
Thank you. Mr. Terrell?
I'm Mick Terrell. Do I need this on?
Hi, Mick.
Hi.
No, you don't need that on.
I haven't been in court for 35 years, so I guess I'm first up. Sonia and I have lived here for all of our lives, in this house for about 30 years. It's a 1,056 square foot house. It was a HUD house, affordable housing. There's no fancy anything in it. It's basically the way it was when we bought it. It was evaluated at about $40,000 then, and it went up about 3% each year until 2019, when it doubled. So the taxes went from $1,672 to $2,825 in 1 year. I feel this is a unfair evaluation for the neighborhood I'm in. It's one of the smallest houses and has the highest taxes on the block. Can I use this camera that she was using?
It's there, Carla.
Oh, there we go. So there it is. I'm, this house here, we're paying $2,825. These are all the houses around me. This one's a trailer house. This one recently did sell for approximately $200,000. And it is assessed at $147 and is still paying less taxes than me. So as you can see, I'm the highest one in the whole neighborhood here. You guys already have a picture of my house, I guess, in the garage. The house was a HUD house. The garage was a chicken coop that was moved in at one point. And the houses around me, what I did is took about 9 or 10 houses that I thought were around me that were similar and averaged all the assessed values I got off of the Lincoln County website. So that would be the first one. It's assessed at 106. The second one is, the assessed value here, assessed at 99. And these are just in my neighborhood. When I've asked about the evaluation, all the houses that were presented to me were not in my neighborhood. Like houses, but maybe up, in a nicer neighborhood. Here's one at 112. These all have 2 to 3 stall garages. So I guess what I'm asking for is just a fair evaluation. This is the one at, this one's 147. And then I went out of my neighborhood a little bit to some newer ones. This is one up on 5th Street, basically a brand new house, and it was assessed at 141. All finished basement, everything. One on North Bartlett, similar, assessed at 108. This one here is down in my neighborhood again. Got a 2-stall garage attached and a shed behind it. Lot is twice as big, similar, but assessed at 156. Find my note. This one's on the west side, similar ranch house with 2 detached garages. Assessed at 123. And one out on Noyd Road that's a ranch house assessed at 150. So I took all these houses and just averaged all those, and that's how I came up with my value that I gave you, that she gave you. And all we're looking for is a fair evaluation, as you can see on this. One of the smallest houses on the block is priced, taxes are twice as high as everybody else's. I can pass these around if you like.
Sir, I've got a question for you.
Okay,
So the assessor's recommendation on your property here is $174,518, right? House is at 158 and change, the land is at 16,000 and change. You're suggesting that isn't fair, I understand your point. What are you suggesting the recommendation should be
well,
for a dollar amount?
I averaged all those houses I just showed you, and that average comes out to total 127,330. And I think she had that up at the beginning. I think that was part of the thing I had to fill out for you guys. And I can give you these papers if that, I mean, I know it's quick, but
No, you're fine, Mick. I don't know, Carla, did you want to address anything that was brought up?
Just as he was flipping through some of the valuations, were those just strictly structure values or total values?
Total, well,
they
I got it
assessed?
off the Lincoln County website, so
They're not.
as you look at
They're
the,
not.
oh, now you can't.
Values only though. I don't know if you know how to read the class codes on the website.
Okay, this is what I got, what's up there now.
Yeah, those were.
Those ones that are in yellow,
None of the assessed values that I was checking as you were going were matching. It seemed like you were just using the structure value and that from the lot,
okay.
so that might be what it was.
Well,
You were close.
if we can do that, let's just look at this page then and look at the tax amounts versus
Yeah.
mine is this one. Here's your tax amounts right here, 18, 17, 19. This one over here was close at 26.
Because of all of the
And-
tax relief programs. I mean,
Right. And Mick, we don't actually set the tax amount, we just set the value. So, that's the only thing that we're looking at right now is what the valuation is. There's lots of things that go into the amount of taxes that you pay, on your property, not just,
They're not just set as the
the
levy.
county doesn't get all that money, as I'm sure you're aware. So we're not gonna look at the actual amount of the full tax today, but certainly the valuation is what we're looking at today. I don't, you've heard the request, folks. Is there anybody that wants to make a motion on this?
Have you made any improvements in the last 30 years?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Kind of improvements?
It's similar to what it was inside, but yeah, I tried to keep it up on the outside and, yeah, I guess we put siding on it.
Is that vinyl siding?
Yep.
Are
The front's the same, it's still wood as it was.
Do you have any problems with water in the basement?
No.
Okay.
The neighborhood is, I guess, you know, if you look around the neighborhood, that's one of the reasons why I don't feel it's that value is, I don't know, we call it the crack house, but somebody might know this house across the street from me. With the abandoned cars in the driveway and the windows boarded up and the police there every other week. And then, you know, right next door to me is a trailer house. So I'm just comparing neighborhoods to neighborhoods. All the houses that I was, you know, presented with were not in my neighborhood when I asked for help.
All right, anybody have a motion they'd like to make?
I'll make a motion. Here's my motion. We set the land value at $16,099. And we set the house value at $145,000.
Is there a second?
Will you repeat that, please?
Yeah, my motion is we set the land value at $16,099, and we set the house value at $145,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Sean,
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
I'm gonna abstain because I know Mick. There you go.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Have a good day.
You too.
Thank you. Next up, Fossum Rentals, parcel 200.14.06.016.
Our next appeal is parcel number 200.14.06.016. It's located at 503 East Second here in Canton. It's owned by Fossum Rentals LLC. So it is a single-family residence built in 1890. It has a grade of 4+10, which is an average with some extra amenities. 4 bedrooms, two bathrooms, no lower level finish. It has 1 stall detached garage. It is currently being assessed at $171,319, which the value did not change from last year to this year, a dollar difference, and that was in rounding for land. Our 3 comparables are very similar to the subject property, all located here in Canton. Our most comparable was comparable number 1, sold for $174,900 in June of 2020. Also has 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. The biggest difference is does have a 2-stall detached garage. Our subject property is currently being assessed at $55 a square foot. You see the cost range between $66 and $69, so that's pretty tight range with the costing. Our market is indicating a valuation range between $57 and $78 a square foot. You can see where the subject property is located in comparison to the 3 comparables. Very similar neighborhood, all in the same neighborhood. Do you want? I'm sorry.
The appellants did provide some documentation to us on Thursday of last week. The agenda had already been posted, so this is what they provided us and asked us to provide.
Thank you.
Okay. The appellant is joining us on the phone, I believe.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Thank you. And can you state your first and last name and your address, please?
Perry Fussum, 624 East Walnut Street, Canton, South Dakota.
Thank you. And you can go ahead, sir, when you're ready.
I guess the problem I had was I purchased this property along with another property on 8/5 of 16. I purchased both properties for $80,000 a piece. And when I went down, when I got when the reappraisal was done, I went down to the office, and they knew that there was a mistake in the price that was put in the purchase price in the property. They put an actual price of $160, the total of both houses, instead of just one house. They said this was going to be taken care of because they knew there was an issue, and they expected me to come down and talk to them about this. And then when I got the assessment back last year, it was not corrected, and I missed the appeals process by 1 day, so that's why I'm doing it this year. And I guess the comparables that you have over there, the closest one, I mean, there is a big difference. That house is built 29 years earlier, or 29 years sooner than the house that I purchased, so the basement is substantially different. It's in a lot better shape. So that's what my discrepancies are.
Carla, did you want to address any of that?
The sale was recorded as a multiple parcel sale. I would like to address the board on the sale of the property. There was no mistake made. There was a sale for $160,000 to purchase 2 homes at once. It was recorded as a multi-parcel sale, and it's accurate. That is how we record sales when more than one property is purchased together.
Oh, you put them as 160?
Yeah, to my memory, which I will double check right now, the property was purchased for $160,000 along with another house at the same time. Looks like the purchase date was August 5th of 2016.
Yes, there was 2 houses purchased for $80,000 apiece for a total of $160,000.
Correct.
Okay. So why would that be put on there as $160,000 when the purchase price was only $80,000?
It was recorded as $160,000, which was the purchase price for both properties.
Okay.
So why doesn't that get split?
How do we know how to split the sale exactly? It was one purchase for 2 homes, and that's how it's recorded.
Would you agree with me that, I understand what you're saying completely. You have to go off what the sales document says. Would you agree with me, though, that those 2 parcels probably were not 160 in and of themselves? Agreed?
Agreed.
But the thing is, your office just doesn't know what value to attach to it.
Correct.
We're not assessing it based
Right.
on that sale.
Right. I think what Mr. Fossum is saying is, why didn't it get split? My response to him is, he's saying he informed you. My guess is, there's no official paperwork to suggest what the split sale is. But I think there is agreement that each of these properties has value, and each of them is not worth $160,000 in and of themselves. So, because what if I bought 5 properties for $1 million? Would each of the, under your system, they would each be worth $1 million now? You would have listed them on the documents as $1 million, right? Because it's a multi-parcel sale.
There'd be a sale attached to the property record
Okay.
that we showed you earlier this morning. And it
Okay.
would show $1 million sale on such and such date. And it would have a code next to it.
Okay.
And that code would indicate that it's a multi-parcel sale, which this does.
Okay. And I think what Mr. Foss, is there a code here that says multi-parcel?
That's what he provided you, and it's circled in red, and the code there you see is D0, and you see how there's a different code on the $0 sale above that.
Yeah, the D7
These codes
above
mean
it.
something in our sales ratio programs,
Okay.
and that's what it means.
Mr. Fossum, you're telling us today that each of the properties should have been listed as 80,000?
Yes. And I'm okay with if the value goes up every year. I'm not saying that, but when it goes up 78%, that's definitely a shock to a person who's trying to run a business, because that increase obviously gets transferred down to the people that are renting the house, and they can't afford that. So I have to take that up. So
Hold on, though, I want to go back to the equalization office. So let's say I did a multi-parcel sale for $1 million. It would list $1 million on there, right?
Correct.
And then it would give a code behind it.
Right.
Okay. All right,
Each cell would say the same thing, because it referenced back
right,
to the other, if it was the 5
right,
parcels,
Right.
it referenced back to the 4.
right.
Each sale that's recorded in the Register of Deeds office has a sequence number. You know, it's all recorded. So both of these sales are going to have the same sequence number. You know, it has to be accurately recorded.
You can track it back,
Yeah.
yeah.
yes, but the other property is assessed the way it should be.
That's good.
Mr. Fossum, what are you suggesting this property should be valued at, for the land and the house?
I mean, I would have no problem going back to the 2019 appraisal at 95.
I think most people in Canton probably would be.
But when you see a 78% increase, it's quite substantial.
Well, here's my question. Carlo, if you two were to individually assess this piece of property for what it is standing by itself and not look at those sales, would you be able to do that?
That's what we're doing.
Okay.
We're-
I'm
the
following
assessment
you.
really doesn't have hardly anything to do with the sale of the house.
Okay.
Okay. All I can say is I would love to sell this property for 171. So if I put it on the market today for 171 and it sells for 140, is Lincoln County going to pay the difference?
Mr. Fossum.
That's a sarcastic comment. I know it, but I'm a
Mr.
little
Fossum.
frustrated.
Yeah, and we're not gonna
Yeah.
address that, sir.
Mr. Fossum, have you made any improvements to the property? If so, what are they?
No.
All right, we're gonna move things along here. Somebody wanna make a motion?
I'll make a motion. We value the land at $27,864. And we value the house at $130,000.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Sean,
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
No. Motion carries. Next item at 9:20, Laura, go ahead, Carla.
Our next appeal is parcel number 200.21.00.004. It's located at 619 South Pleasant here in Canton. It's under Lori Wiebe. It is a single-family property built in 1925, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 1,200 square feet. We have a current assessed value of $138,632. The assessor's office is recommending no change. The property is within both cost and market approaches to value. There's some information within your packets where there's a letter from the appellant. We have 3 comparables, all of which sold in 2019 and 20. Felt the most comparable for the property was located at 720 North Dakota here in Canton, sold for $180,000 in 2019. Our subject property is currently sitting at $97 a square foot. The cost approach is indicating a value between $60 and $120 a square foot. Our market is indicating a valuation between $83 and $133 a square foot. You can see the subject property and the comparables are relatively close, especially comps 1 and 2. We had to reach out a little bit farther for comp 3, but it's all located within Canton.
Thank you. Would the appellant like to address the board? Are you the appellant?
Yes.
Yep. Just state your name and address and go ahead.
Lori Wiebe, 619 South Pleasant Street.
What would you like us to know?
Well, last year, my value increased 100%. I did not appeal it last year because I didn't think that my taxes would double. And then this year, I got another letter saying that it increased again, and I haven't done anything to it. And I just feel that I haven't done anything to it in order to sell it at the amount of money that you are assessing it for. I would need to do some major repairs. I haven't done anything since I bought it except to put that front porch on. And that's been quite a while ago, actually. I'm not prepared for this. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't bring any pictures of anything comparable. I bought my house in 2010. I looked at several houses in Canton. I looked at houses up in the northern part of Canton and realized the taxes up in that area were not within my means. So I started looking at something less and with less tax every month payment. I don't plan on selling my house. I plan on living there. I've lived in Canton all my life. I love my home. I do have a nice lot that the home sits on. The comparable that you did up on 720 North Dakota, that's in the northern part of Canton too. I don't know how you guys do that exactly, but I feel like in that part of town, the taxes were lower, and that was initially why I chose that home. I don't know, can you guys advise me on what I should be saying, because I feel like I'm rambling and,
Well, I have a question for you, ma'am. You
Pardon
bought
me?
the house in 2010, how much?
I paid $130 for it.
Okay, so you'd agree with me, the fair market value, and you didn't buy it from a friend or a relative or anything like that?
No.
You bought it through a real estate
Yes.
realtor? Okay, so you'd agree with me that the fair market value of the home back in 2010, the amount that you voluntarily paid for it was $130,000, correct?
That is what it appraised for, so yes.
Okay. So is it fair to say then that you would agree, at least back in 2010, it was 130, and then there may have been some increase in, do you believe there's been any increase in value in the last 11 years?
Not from anything that I've done to the home. I would say that it would have decreased.
Have you made any improvements to the house?
No.
Do you have any problems with siding on the house? Is that wood siding?
No, it's vinyl, I think.
Vinyl
I don't
siding.
know.
Do you have any problems with the basement at all?
No.
Okay.
How about shingles and so forth? Has that been
The shingles are gonna need to be replaced.
okay?
The deck needs to be replaced in the back. It needs new flooring on the inside. If I were to sell it and get, I feel like a comparable in the area, I would need to spend a lot of money, I think.
Question for the equalization office. I noticed that it's never been valued at it's never been valued at 130,000. Based on its assessment history. Do you know what the reason for that is? Okay, because of the lack of reappraisal. Okay.
How she explained the north side of town was being assessed at market
Right.
value and the south side wasn't being assessed at market value. We did a reappraisal, now everybody's at market value.
Right. Okay.
Thank you. I'd go ahead and entertain a motion.
I would ask, can I speak?
Well, we've
May I
allotted 10 minutes per case, so go ahead and have your last say. That's
I
fine.
would just ask that maybe the land even be looked at for that it sits on at a lower value. I'm not sure where that land value is coming from, but
Carla, do you want to address that?
How big is your lot again, approximately?
Pardon me?
How big is this lot approximately?
it's pretty big. I'm not exactly sure.
It's
how big.
16,140 square feet, so it's a large lot. We're evaluating all lots in Canton, depending on location. The presentation I gave this morning, we had $2.10 a square foot on those lots. This one we're valuing at $1.50 a square foot, so we are indicating it's in a area that would, less desirable. Also, just a couple notes, the basement was put on, new basement in 2000, so it's not a 1925 basement, it's a 2000 basement. She did indicate she did fix the porch since you
The front
purchased
porch.
it. So there has been improvements.
Right. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and ask for a motion.
Can we assess the land at 15,000 and the house at 115,000?
Is that your motion?
That'll be my motion.
Second.
Let me call the roll, please.
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Sean,
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
No. Motion carries. Move on to item 4.
Our next appeal is parcel number 200.28.10.010. It's property located at 704 West Fifth Street, owned by Vanette Wagner. It's a single family property built in 1900, has 978 square feet, 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom. We currently have it assessed at $73,508. They purchased it for $75,000 3 years ago. We are recommending no change to the value. 3 comparables that we brought forth to you. 2018 sale, we do have 2021 sale. I'm not sure if that's a typo. Could be, would you check that, Ethan, on comparable number 1? We felt the most comparable was comparable number 3, sold for $72,000 in 2018. The subject property is currently being assessed at $65 a square foot. The cost approach indicates between $63 and $100 a square foot. The market is indicating anywhere between $58 and $95 a square foot. The subject property is located just north of Highway 18, I believe that is, right on the main strip in Canton. Our comparables are, 2 comparables are to the south, and 1 comparable slightly to the north. But they're all located within the same general vicinity.
Is the applicant present? Or, excuse me, appellant. Come on up. Can you just state your name and address, please?
It's Vanette A. Wagner, and my address is 704 West 5th Street, correct?
And what would you like us to know, ma'am?
One reason I live, like, as far as a bird flies, that close to the depot, traffic by there goes like 90 miles an hour half the time. Enforcement is not, there is hardly any traffic enforcement as far as the traffic changes mile per hour, 35 mile per hour, right like in front of my porch. They're already going that once they cross the railroad tracks, they're going 35 miles an hour. Anyway, that's beside the point. The reason I'm protesting the assessment is because the house is 121 years old. I've done no physical improvement to the inside. There is I call it a chicken coop because there's not room for any kind of vehicle to be put in it. So I guess if I did make a new garage or something like that, then the value of the property would probably rise, I'm assured. And other than that, the value of it in 2018, I believe, was assessed at $55,000, according to the records I have. And I have done no physical improvement on the inside. The carpeting needs to be replaced. It's just, you probably need to have Hometown come in there and just remodel the whole inside of the house. And right now, I can't afford to do anything like that.
Ma'am, has anything happened to the house since you purchased it in 2018?
As far as what?
No deterioration of the property?
I've had to replace a couple of things, like the water heater. There was no ductwork underneath, and I guess that was not looked at very closely. My dad found this place. I've been living in Texas for most of my life, and this was the best thing that they could find in this town for me to purchase. As far as value and the condition it was in, they looked at several homes in town, and this one was the best one that they thought that I would fit into more than anything else in town.
You don't disagree that $75,000 was the price that was paid for the property 3 years ago?
Not really. I could see it being worth 65.
But you guys paid
ma'am.
75 for it
Yes,
3
ma'am.
years ago, correct?
And they wanted more than that.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions?
And you said you did put some improvements into it? Put a new
Just-
water heater in?
I've
fix-
replaced the
Put
water
some
heater,
duct
yes,
work?
sir. And ductwork, yes, sir.
I'd go ahead and consider a motion.
I move to set the land value at 10,206 and the house value at 63,302.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes?
Commissioner Sean,
Aye.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Never hurts to ask, right? We'll go ahead with item 5.
Our next appeal is parcel number 200.29.00.002D. It's located at 720 Northwest Street here in Canton. It's a single-family property owned by Deborah and Douglas Peterson, built in 1998. It is what we consider a good quality home with some extra components. 2,080 square feet, 5 bedrooms, 3 baths. We currently have it assessed at $403,908. The assessor is recommending no change. The subject is within market and comparable market and cost approach to valuation. Our 3 comparables that we presented for you are any sales range between 2019 and 2020, 305,000 to 335,500. Felt the most comparable to the subject property was comparable number 1. It sold in June of 2019 for $335,000. It is smaller. The quality is inferior to the subject property, and it does have 1 less acre. Some of the differences. Currently, our subject property is assessed at $169 a square foot. The cost range is between $87 and $151 a square foot. Our market is indicating a valuation price per square foot between $103 and $192 a square foot. Our subject property is located on the edge of Canton. The comparables 1 and 2 are very similar in location to the subject property. We had to go on the, I believe, southeast side of Canton to grab onto comparable number 3 because we were trying to find something that was a larger lot that had sold. Felt the most comparable was comparable number 1, which was right across the street from it. Just wanted to show you, some inflation. In 2012, the most comparable sold for $238,000. 7 years later, sold for $335,000. No improvements made to the property that the county assessor is aware of. I believe we have the appellant on the phone.
He didn't
No,
answer the phone.
He didn't answer the phone.
All
This
right.
was a call-in.
Okay. Nothing, Jake? All right. Go ahead and consider a motion. Unless anybody has some questions for Carla.
I never like these hearings when the other person doesn't show up, right? He said he was gonna call in. I don't know if it's for lack of interest or maybe the guy got a flat tire on the side of the road. We just don't know why he didn't call in, whether it's for lack of interest or not. I'd make a motion to change him, just to push him down to the end of the day, in case we can get him on the phone.
I don't have a problem with that.
But if he doesn't show up then, a decision has to be made today.
Correct. Okay.
Push them to the end of the morning session.
Yeah, excuse me, I agree. Yes,
Okay.
end of the morning session.
I don't have a problem with that. Anybody else? All right, then we'll move on. Well, we got a few minutes here then. Is
Madam Chair,
the appellant here on this one? Go ahead.
did you want Jake to keep trying the number that he gave us?
Yeah, that'd
or-
be fine. If you want to try again.
His looks like mine's battery died or something.
You never know.
That's right.
Could be blowing us off, or it could be have a legit problem.
Yeah, right,
Who knows?
right.
Don't know.
It won't hurt us to wait.
This is Doug Peterson.
Good morning, Mr. Peterson. Our Director of Equalization just went through your card and analysis and how your value was set on your property. What did you want us to know today, sir?
Well, I guess I was wondering why it went up so high so quick, because I'm in the city limits. I don't have half the amenities or whatever we're supposed to. I don't have city sewer. I don't have a street, curb and gutter or whatnot. I mean, it's almost like I live out in the county, but yet my taxes are, to me, almost outrageous. I don't value my home that high. Where they came up with a valuation that high, I guess that was my question.
Your house was reappraised in 2020, sir. Did you appeal last year?
No, because this was the first time I'd seen that it was up over 400,000 valuation.
It did go up. It went from 387,150 in 2020 to $403,908 in 2021.
Yeah, but the taxes went up so high that I went from what, 4,900 to 6,800 or something like that. I don't remember now for sure. I guess I was used to the gradual. I was used to that, but to go up a third again as much, or
Mr. Peterson.
I guess I just don't understand how
Mr.
the
Peterson.
valuation got so high. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I understand the generalized complaint about the higher taxes. Let me ask you some specific questions about the property
Sure.
itself.
Sure.
When did you buy the property and for how much?
I bought the property in 1998. I paid, and it was a bare 2 acres. I bought it from Brueggemann out of Inwood for $5,000 an acre, which I know now is cheap. I understand that. And then we built the house in '99 on there for, I think it cost me like $165,000 or $70,000 to build it.
Have you made any improvements to it since then?
I enclosed the deck. That's all I've done to it.
How are the shingles on it?
I had to reshingle it because of the hailstorms we had,
So
but
it
I
has,
got reimbursed for that.
right, so it has been recently reshingled. What was that, 2014?
Probably about what? Yeah, somewhere. It's probably been 4 or 5 years since we've reshingled it.
Okay.
Yes,
Does it have basement?
it has a wood basement, not cement. It's wood. It's a wood frame basement.
Okay. Any improvements to the basement?
Nope, that's the way it's been since we moved in. We finished both. Well, I should take that back. We did have water damage, so we had it tore apart for a few years. But it is a finished basement. I understand that. There's 2 legal bedrooms and a bathroom down there.
After you had the water damage, did you fix it back up?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I just finished it up here. It's been 6-8 months ago, but within the last year we did.
And I got a
I had-
question for the, thank you, Mr. Peterson. Got a question for the equalization office. In your comparables, do those all have city water and city sewer?
I don't have city sewer. Oh,
All right, that, Mr. Peterson, hold on. It's a question for the
yes.
equalization office.
yes, okay.
I don't have an answer for that question.
One
I
and
mean,
two
that would be the
not
city
have-
folks could
one and
maybe
two
help
would
us
not
with
have
that.
sewer.
No sewer.
It'd be the same. There's no sewer up that. They all have water. But, we have septic tanks up that way.
Okay.
Question, is this a two-stall garage? Because the photo only shows one.
It's a 24 by 24 2-stall garage.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any further discussion?
What caused the valuation from, the 2020 to 2021 to do that raise from 387 to 403? Just curious.
So during the presentation, I showed you that sheet that we indicated there were certain sections of Canton that needed to increase. This was one of those areas that we increased by 10%.
And if I may, sir, it does show on the first page of all these slides the assessment history. And next to 2021, you can see there was a 5% increase in section 1 or 10% in section 3. A spelling error there, but the explanation will usually be there on the first page.
Thank you. I'd entertain a motion. Commissioner Gibbon, this is your area. Do you want to make a motion?
I guess, the assessor's recommendation, for the house is 352,000, correct? Was there new siding put on it recently? I didn't, or did I miss that? I just had that
Nope.
question. No? Okay.
Nope, everything is original on the outside.
Okay, all right. I guess, house-wise, I can see since you did have some water damage and sometimes I think I could recommend, leaving the land the same because I think has some value, but the house maybe 325,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Go ahead and call the roll, please.
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Sean,
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
No. Motion carries. We'll move on to item 6.
Our next appeal is parcel number 200.31.08.009. It's located at 603 North Dakota here in Canton. It's under the name of Richard and Stacy Wise. It's a single-family property built in 1915. It is a good quality home with lacking some features. Total square footage is 2,497. 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bathrooms. They did refuse entry to us during the reappraisal. The valuation did go up 5% from 2020 to 2021. Our 3 comparables are within the date range between October of 2018 to July of 2020. They're located very similar to the subject property, comps 3 and 2 specifically. Most comparable is comp 1. Looks very similar to the subject property, sold in June of 2019 for $342,900. Our subject property is currently being assessed at $91 a square foot. The cost is indicating a cost range between $69 and $93 a square foot. The market is indicating $77 and $117 a square foot. Most notably on this, why this subject property is on the upper level of both cost and market. It had a 2005 addition built onto the home. Also, the garage is a new garage, 2005, which is heated and insulated. It's an above average quality. The assessor is recommending no change to the assessment based on it's in the range of the cost and the market with the comparables.
Thank you. And the appellant is present? Can you just
Yes,
state,
I am. Good
state your
morning.
name and address, please, sir?
Richard Wisey, 603 North Dakota Street, right here in town.
Thank you, Mr. Wisey. What would you like us to know
Well,
today?
first off, I was just gonna make a correction. You said my garage was heated. My garage is not heated. So that is not an issue. But going by the comparables, I've got pictures of 3 homes in my neighborhood. This one's on the other side of town. And if it's okay with you, I'm old school. I took pictures of it and I got little handouts comparing the 4 properties. You can lay them all side by side and see where I'm coming from. If it's okay, I can bring
That's
them up
just
to you.
fine. You
All
bet.
right?
Yep, go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As you can see, the first picture is of my home. Ms. Gassman just went through that. Gooseman, sorry. The White House is a half block south of mine, directly across the road. And if you look at this is right off of the website. This house is comparable. It's roughly 2,800 square feet, 4 bedroom, 2 bath, got a 2-stall detached garage. And as you can see on the evaluation, it's valued at $133,000. So that's comparable number 1. The second one is a blue house. It's directly east of the one I just went through. And if you look at that house there, it's 2,462 square feet, 3 bedroom, 2 bath. It's got a 2-stall garage. The valuation on that one is $137,880. Okay, the third property that I have is the next house east of that one. It's kind of a brown house. Square footage on that one is 2,485. It's a 5-bedroom home, 5 bath, 2-stall garage, $177,000 value. So I guess why I'm looking at is fairness. If you put all 4 of these houses in a row, they're all similar in size, similar in year built. Amenities vary some, but in general, they're all fairly close. So if you look at my assessed value at $226,000 versus these 3 properties, the main difference is a 1-stall garage. I have a 3, these all have 2s. So that is where I'm
Could
coming
you say
from.
that again, sir? What did you think the distinguishing factor was? Could you say that again?
I have a 3-stall garage. These properties all have a 2-stall garage. So I've got 1 more garage stall. Otherwise, you're built, whether it's made of wood, or block, a house that old really don't matter.
How old is the house?
The main part of my house is 1915. I think it's actually 1905, but
And
It's
you've
a-
owned it since 1986.
correct.
And have you made any improvements since then?
I did. I made an improvement in 2005. I had a double car garage at that time that was oversized. I took that down. I added a 3-stall with a room directly behind it. That's where I think it's separated out on the assessment. I added 800 square feet, I believe it was, or 700 and some square feet.
Does it have basement?
Yes, the
Any
basement
water?
is only under the main part of the house. The rest of it is crawl space.
Does it have any water issues?
We had, when Canton got the monsoons, we had probably 2 foot of water in the basement.
Does it, aside from significant water events, does it normally get water?
You know, we're pretty fortunate because we are on a pretty good grade there. So, no, I would say that's probably not the issue.
How old is the roof?
The roof, we put that on 30 years ago.
Any other questions? Any comments from staff?
I just want to note again, they refused entry for inspection during the reappraisal.
And I don't think it's fair to compare apples to apples. The comparables that he's using when there's a large part of this home was built in 2005. You know, it's not just the garage.
It's the smaller part of it.
That's
One at a,
different.
we're gonna, one at a time, please. What were you
My
saying?
apologies. I was just saying the garage is not the only differentiating factor between his comparables and the subject property. I mean, there's 840 square feet that was original to the house, and then possibly the 80 square feet that's to the north of the 840, but almost half was built in 2005, and then including the garage, you know, it's a 700 square foot garage. It's pretty big, but it's not the only differentiating factor.
Thank you. Sir, did you have anything else you'd like to say?
I was just gonna correct him. The old house is 2-story. So it's not 900 square feet. It's 1,800 square feet plus the back, which is approximately 64 square feet. So the old part of the house is 1,864 square feet.
So it's more like a third or something.
So maybe, if you did the math on it, maybe a quarter to a third.
All right, consider a motion.
Can I add one more thing? I don't want to interrupt you, but
Go ahead.
in the comparable property as well, I realize it's on the other side of the town. It's a bigger home, that's obvious. It's got more bedrooms, that's obvious. It's got another bathroom. The one thing that I wanted to point out, or two things rather, it's not on a busy street. Dakota's a busy street. This is on more of a quieter neighborhood. And in addition to that, the calculation per square foot is less than mine. And I know that home, I toured it when it was for sale. I believe they put on addition, probably 35 years ago, but it was well over 1,200 square feet that they added on to that house at that time.
Thank you.
Sir, you didn't allow the assessors to come in and inside the house?
My wife wants nothing to do with that, so no, I did not. I guess, I don't know if they allowed assessors into these other properties as well, but no, they did not.
If I remember back to the last couple of years, we've done this. When people come in and there's been this issue of not allowing the assessors to come in, what the commission said at that time was, would you allow them in? If they wanted to take a look at it and come back to us here.
I probably would. I would have to okay it with my wife, because she's the one that's really with all the COVID and all this and that, and even previous to that, it kind of really messes with her. So.
That's true. We did not have a pandemic the last
So-
2 times I've been doing this, so
So
that's a
that
big
is,
issue.
that is an issue. But, like I said, I just wanted to point that out, that I feel with comparable properties that I presented in my neighborhood, half block away. Matter of fact, in the pictures, you can see my house in the background. Those houses are considerably assessed less than mine.
Do you think your land is a fair assessment? 24,486.
You know, the land, to me, is a non-issue because I think lots in town they are what they are. It's kind of like farmland. They are what they are.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like you objected to that in
And
your
I don't see any
request.
reason to object to the size of to the value of the land.
So what is the board?
My big concern is when it really popped up, and I was a little naive 2 years ago. It's probably when I should have brought this forward, is when mine jumped by over 70%.
All right, we're gonna move it along.
Okay, sorry.
Nope, you're fine. Just gotta keep, we got a
No,
lot
that's-
on our agenda.
No, I know,
We
you got a
keep
plate
going.
full, yes.
What does the board wanna do?
So you feel your assessment is higher than the comparables because of the additional garage, is that?
Well, I can see that part of it. That makes sense. I can understand that, but I don't believe an added one-stall garage fills out that difference. That's a lot.
It's,
It's not that much.
We're not saying it is either.
no, we're not.
No.
Okay.
All right, I'm closing for the questioning right now and entertain a motion.
I guess, if your land values is fine, I guess your assessor's recommendation for 226, I guess, I would make a recommendation with the house assessor for 210,000.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, leave the land as is and reduce the value on the house by 10,000,
By 16,000.
by
correct.
16,000. Thank you for the clarification. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, Sherry, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Sean,
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
No. Motion carries. Move on to item 7. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Our next appeal is parcel number 200.46.01.002. It is a property located at 1111 East 3rd Street here in Canton. It is owned by Valerie Lynn Anderson and Mohammed Bakri Budaka. It is a single-family property built in 2010. It's a high-quality home that's lacking a few features. It's 2,282 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms. Lower level finish of 2,182, so nearly all of it is finished in the lower level. It's got a double stall garage. We have a total assessed value of $420,072. The assessor is recommending no value change for the 2021 assessment year. Three comparables are all comparables between 2018 and 2019. All are very similar to the subject property. felt the most comparable is comparable number one, sold in 2018 for $310,000. It is a 3-year-old sale at this point. Did want to indicate that, you know, it did increase in the selling price from when it originally sold in 2015 to $295,000. I do want to make note that they did have an appraisal done in October of 2020, and it came in at $388,000. That appraisal was not. We didn't see a copy of.
I have it right here. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I thought
you
I
bet.
thought I maybe there wasn't a spot to upload this year before I mailed it in, but
So there was no time for us to, you know, review the appraisal. Not that we're disagreeing with it, but we did not have time to review it. So, yep, the appellant is here.
All right, please state your name and address, please.
yep, Valerie Anderson Budaka, 1111 East 3rd, Canton, South Dakota. And yeah, I have an appraisal here. I apologize that wasn't attached. It was, I did this a couple years ago, and then you mailed everything in. This year, maybe there was a spot to attach it. It was all online, so I'm not sure. But I do have an appraisal, a certified appraisal here, if anyone would like to look at that. But yeah, it was done to refinance my home, and it was $388,000, and that increase is because we did some home improvements. When we bought the home, nothing had ever been redone, so we just did cosmetic things like flooring and
Ma'am, does your certified appraisal include the land value as well?
Yes, and I looked through it. It was kind of hard for me to find, and I might have filled out the form incorrectly there. I'm not sure how that was broke down, but I couldn't find it on the appraisal easily, and I probably could call the appraiser and ask him where that is in the report, but the report is very long, so I'm not quite sure where that would be.
Can I see a copy of it?
Yep.
Thank you.
Who did the appraisal, Joel?
Jordan Tucker out of, I believe, Sioux Falls.
Thank you.
Is this in the city of Canton?
Yep.
It is, okay.
Yeah, I'll just note in here in the appraisal, it was done, October of 2020. October 7th, it did come in at $388,000. It does use the Uniform Residential Appraisal Report. It does list comparable sales. Just as the Equalization Office noted, they were unable to find comparables within the last year, I think. And the appraiser in this document also stated there were no prior sale of comparables other than those included in this report in the last 12 months. All current sales appear to be arm's length transactions sold through MLS. So, and it does appear he took into account the comparable sales, which would suggest then that the land price was included in there. Because it looks like he just put the whole in there. Cost approach was considered deemed not necessary to complete a credible result. I think this is just one of those examples of the fact that professionals on both sides could probably disagree as to what comparables and values are. And that just goes to show that within this system here of valuing property, there's, it's not necessarily a science, but it's an art and a science, I think.
On that appraisal, Joel, where did they put the cost per square foot? If you can find it.
If I may, while we're waiting, was that a refinance?
Yes, yep.
Was it a drive-by appraisal or did they
No,
inspect?
they came in the home and you know, for the sake of the reassessment, I think we were working when they tried to come to reassess. We didn't deny anyone entry, but we were probably working, so.
He didn't do the calculation for price per square foot on this property, but what he did is he did the price per square foot on the comparables. So
Okay.
each of the three comparables, he lists the price per square foot, but he didn't do the calculation on the sales price gross living area for the
Okay.
subject property.
Entertain a motion?
And this is what you said you did the appraisal for the purposes of refinancing?
Refinancing, yes, yep.
Okay. Well, it does look like the requested land values were the same.
Yeah, I didn't know, like I said, I couldn't find in the appraisal where they split that out, so, you know, and I feel like, you know, lots with, you know, water, sewer, you know, are going for that, so I don't have a problem with that. It's just that, you know, there's a lot of variation in the actual home, and I think that's where my concern comes is, you know, lots are kind of all the same, but, you know, homes vary.
Thank you. What do you guys want to do?
I'll make a motion to value the land at $32,243 and value the structure at $356,000.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Sean,
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you. Have a good day. Go ahead, Carla.
Our next appeal is parcel number 200.50.14.301. It's located at 933 North Dakota here in Canton. It's owned by Mark and Tanya Iverson. It's single-family property built in 1998. It's of a high quality with some additional features. It is 3,275 square feet, 4-bedroom, 2.5 baths, lower level finish of 440 square feet. It does have a extremely large garage, 5 stalls. We have it being assessed at $584,879. There is a current appraisal that was indicated by the property owner where it was valued at $572,800. We did request that reappraisal, but had not received it as of the publishing date for the agenda. Assessor is recommending no change to value as it meets the market and the income or market and the cost approaches to value. The 3 comparables are located all in Canton, date range between June of 2018 and April of 2019. Not always the same type of home, but what we're looking for in these 3 comparables of a higher quality type home with similar size. Felt our most comparable sold in June of 2018. That one sold for $610,000. It is a few years newer, a lot smaller. 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths. It does have a detached and an attached garage with 4 stalls. It's currently assessed at $506,780. When you look at our assessed value ranges, the subject property is being assessed at $164 a square foot, and our cost is indicating 85 to 179. The 85 would be because it's an older home. But we're looking at the quality. The market is indicating a cost range between $103 and $180 a square foot. Our subject property is located on the northern part of Canton. Our comparables 2 and 3 are in a similar type neighborhood. It's just distance-wise, it's not that far away from the subject property. I'm not sure where comparable 1 is located, to be honest with you. Let me look at the address.
There's another
slide.
Yeah, go down further.
Oh, thank you. Yep. Believe that's on the northwest part of town? Yes. Yes, yes.
Again, this is just because this is a bigger lot, so it's pretty hard to find something that's over an acre inside city limits. And to make it even harder, you gotta find a house that's 2 stories on an acre lot inside city of Canton. It's kinda unique.
Is the appellant present? You want to go ahead and come on up and state your name and address, and
Can I take this off?
you absolutely can take that off.
Mark Iverson, 933 North Dakota Street in Canton.
What do you want us to know today, Mark?
Are all homes in Lincoln County, they assessed at 100% value of the home they feel? They're
That's
taxing?
the goal.
Okay.
That's-
So what is the percentage? Is it trying to be 100%?
Carla, when we equalized it, what was the percentage?
In Canton, we are at 90.42% of market value.
Which doesn't mean that we're at that.
No, that's just an average. That's the median.
They're anywhere from 113% down to, who knows? In some of our non-reappraisal areas, they're pretty low.
I built this home 23 years ago. When I built my building permit, I assumed I don't think any 2-story homes built in the last 25 years in Canton. When I applied for my building permit, they value the main level at 100%, the basement at 50%, the second level at 75%. Do you take that into consideration, like in the value of a house, second level, less value per square foot or not?
Was it maybe not done being constructed during that? Was it maybe not done being constructed?
Well,
that
that's the way they
first
did it
appraisal?
in 98 when I applied for the building. In other words, the second level was only appraised or valued at 75% of the value. And maybe the assessors don't assess because there's no other homes 25 years ago built or in Canton. Tell me when the last 2-story was built, I guess.
I think I can answer part of that question.
Okay.
So your basement square footage is being assessed at a different price per square foot than your main level.
Correct, yes.
So,
And same with the second story.
yes.
It's based at a different level price, okay.
And those costs are provided to us by, there's only 2 that are approved in the United States.
No, state of South Dakota.
No, for sure, the state of South Dakota. It's similar to what your insurance agent uses when they come up with the reconstruction cost for insurance purposes.
Okay.
And so those costs are provided to us, and they do have a difference between the second floor basement finish, the main floor, your bill.
The appraisal that you saw, or I have it here, where that was done, basically the appraisal could not compare any houses in Canton to my house. You probably found that problem. They went to T for 1 and to Sioux Falls for 2 others, which were the same square foot of house within a few $1,000s of the value of my house is what they had. But I don't think you can compare Sioux Falls to Canton or T. One of the other things it is for my house, a cornfield 150 feet north, a fourplex north of my house that's 25 years old, been changed hands 2-3 times last year, a 75-year-old house kitty corner, a 50-year-old commercial business across the street, a football field in my backyard, and a what, a $600 or $1 million mansion south of me. So I don't have all $600,000 houses around me, or $800,000 or $200,000 homes. So, like you said, or somebody said, kind of unique that way. You know, I did some comparison from the tax that I looked up online for the county, and man, there's houses that haven't been sold that are more square foot than mine, and tax quite a bit less, anywhere from, man, 70,000 to 157 of the three I looked at. And if you talk about lower level being tax less, is a walkout basement considered above ground level then?
No, but it is valued higher than a garden deed.
Okay, okay. And then, of course, one of them, you know, has a, you know, older home, higher quality, probably mine, with a fenced-in yard with a pool, and it's, you know, still that $100,000 less. And I think my house is the highest valued house in Canton, from what I see.
Sir, do you have a copy of the appraisal I can send?
I have just this. I have the whole appraisal, all the pictures inside the house and outside.
If I may address the board,
Go ahead.
I think that's, when we look at assessments for taxation purposes, it's very clear what the gentleman to the left of me is saying. We assess properties equally using the same methodology. A fee appraiser is going to go out and cherry pick their comps. They couldn't find comps for this property in Canton. They went to Sioux Falls and they went to T. We're valuing all of these properties exactly the same, using the same methodology, using the same computer-assisted mass appraisal system. We're fair, we're equal, and we're within the market value range that's indicated to us when we look at all of the sales in Canton.
Can I
It's
ask?
a fair system.
Can you explain also, when we lower the value on a particular piece of property, how does that get spread across the tax base?
It's always been, known, we lower one for one property and that tax base gets redistributed to everybody else. We lower his and your taxes are going to increase because that tax base has already been assigned to this taxing district.
Yeah, and according to statute, we can't actually use that concept as a reason for making our determination today, can we?
No.
So we have to disregard that notion or concept. Correct.
One clarification, if you look at the rest of the valuation, they did compare 3 houses in Canton that are 2-story homes, not single family. And for some reason, they said you can't use a comparable 2-story to a single family, because that's why they went to Sioux Falls. They did the Biersbach house, which is totally renovated years ago. They did the Bogue house, and they did the Slade house, if most of you know which the Slade house is. You can't compare the woodwork, the 12-inch baseboards, whatever, and that house sold for $420, size-wise uncomparable to mine. Their house is 50 years older than mine, I know that, you know what I mean? But when you look at quality house or whatever, and the hundreds of thousands they put in that house in the last, the Vilks, years ago, which would people choose, that house for $400 or mine for $400?
Do you have any objection to the land value being set at $48,648?
Paid $25 for it 20 years ago, which was a good buy, but no.
Okay.
And then the other thing it is, I do not have a 5-stall garage, I have a 3. I have an unattached shed out back that was moved in there 10 years ago. That's a 2-stall shed out back. It's not a 5-stall house.
So if there's no objection to the land value, that means the assessor's office is at 536 and change, and you're at 532 and change. You guys are really close, aren't you? If there's no objection to the land value. So there's only about $4,000 difference between the two of you on your assessments, correct?
Well,
Right.
mine, that's 572, the whole value of the house, what they assessed it at.
Well, you said you agree with the land value at $48,648. Then, if we look at the structure, you said your structure's worth $532. Assessor's office said $536. You're only about $4,000 apart, right?
And if I could clarify for you, Mark, on your PT-17 you filled out, you did say 40,000 on the lot, so you were in a disagreement at that point in time. Now today
Okay.
you're agreeing.
I guess my wife had filled us out. She sent me here to do this. So apparently that's what she had thought. It wasn't an agreement. And of course, when I built this house, it was taxed at $300,000 22 years ago, and now it's at close to $600,000. Taxes were $6,000, or not quite. I mean, man, you get penalized for taking care of your house. You want your valuation high. We all do, whether it's farmland or whatever, but you know, there's no, comparable houses, I guess, in Canton that are two-story houses that have been sold, even though you value, and I feel it's a tough job, you know what I mean? There's no two, I sell cars, there's no two used cars alike, and there's no two houses alike. I mean, but until you get a real value of a house, I don't know.
All right, somebody have a motion they'd like to make?
I'll make a motion, value the land at $48,648 and value the house at $534,000.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Sherry, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Sean,
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbons,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Hey, sir, I got your copy up here. You can have that back. Thank you.
Move on to item 9.
Our next appeal is parcel number 200.63.02.019. It's property located at 34 Park Lane here in Canton, owned by Barbara Least. It's a single-family property built in 1971. It's an average quality home with maybe some extra additional amenities. 960 square feet is the total main floor square footage. Lower level finish is 816. We originally had a total assessed value of $151,120. After the appraiser spoke with the homeowner, there was some water damage in the basement, so we do have a recommendation to lower the assessed value on the house from $133,570 to $122,263, which brings us a total of $139,813 for the recommendation. The value didn't change from 2020 to 21, other than the water damage change that we made for this property. So the 3 comparables are all comparables in 2020. We felt the most comparable was comparable number 1 that sold for $163,500. That was also in Park Lane. Our recommendation price per square feet is $127 per square foot. The cost range is between $116 and $133. The market is indicating $152 to $162 a square foot. You can see that all 3 comparables are located very close to the subject property.
The other thing I got to say is the comparables have got a 2-car garage. I've only got a 1-car garage.
Ma'am, can you state your name and address, please?
Barbara Least. Address is 34 Park Lane, Box 44, Canton, South Dakota, 57013.
Thank you, ma'am. So you're saying that there's only a 1-stall garage?
Yes.
And that is what I'm showing on the assessment. Correct, Carla?
Correct. 1-stall garage for the subject. Comparable 1 is also a 1-stall garage.
And how much was the comparable one?
Well, there were 3 comparables, ma'am. Are you wanting the assessed value for those comparables?
Yes.
Comparable 1 was, the assessed value was $135,212. Comparable 2 was $159,134. And comparable 3 was $144,020.
Okay. So, what do you, as of now, what do you assess my property at? I mean, lowering it.
At $139.14 a square foot for the house, and $2.25 for the land, for a total valuation of $151,120.
Yeah, because I was going to try and see if you could lower the assessed value.
The value was changed, ma'am. It was reduced down to a total of $139,813 because of the water damage that you had in your basement.
Okay, I agree with that. Okay, if you lowered it to 139,000, I'll agree with that.
Okay, and that is the recommendation.
I'll make a motion that we taking into consideration the assessor's recommendation as well as the admission by the appellant, that we value the land at $17,550, and we value the other buildings at $122,263. I do have a question though. I notice on there the dollar amount is under the other buildings category. Is that just a typo? Put it in the wrong box? Yeah. So I'll just move that to house. We value the house at $122,263 for a total assessed value of $139,813.
Thank you, Commissioner Aaron's. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Commissioner,
Ma'am, it sounded like you wanted to say something. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Okay. If there's no further discussion, we'll go ahead and call the roll, please.
Commissioner Aaron's,
Hold on a second.
We did mail all the information to you.
Okay, thank you.
We'll need that back.
Oh, okay.
Oh, did you get some information in the mail, ma'am?
About what?
Disability relief on your assessment?
No, I don't think I did.
There was some that was sent out to you, so perhaps you should call the Director of Equalization's office to get that processed, because that'll help you out if you qualify for it.
What process now?
You just need to call the Director of Equalization.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. To get something processed.
Yes, ma'am. It's just some disability paperwork.
Oh, disability?
Well,
Okay.
it might help you out on your assessment.
Okay. All right. I'm in Nebraska with my daughter right now, so as soon as I get back to South Dakota and kind of get settled, I'll give them a call.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. You can apply for a tax freeze. There's certain reasons you can apply for a tax freeze on your property.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
you can try and do that. So give them a call.
Yes, I will.
All
will.
right, thank you. So
Yep, thank you.
you bet. You have a good day. We do have a
You
motion
too.
and a second. We should call the roll, Sherry.
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Sean,
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes. Item 10.
Our next appeal is parcel number 200.63.03.023. It's located at 408 Poplar Drive here in Canton. It's owned by Vernon and Clarine Thorson. It is a single-family home built in 1973. It is 1,424 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathroom, lower level finish of 584 square feet. We have a total assessed value of $172,304. Very similar assessment as of last year, 2020. The assessor is recommending no change. The property is between the cost and the market valuation system. Our 3 comparables all occurred in 2020, ranging from $180,000 to $183,600. Felt our most comparable was comparable number 3, same year, same quality. Our subject property is larger than the comparable. Number 3 is 1,066 square feet. Our assessment range for the subject property, or not range, but the price per square foot is $107. Our comparables are coming in for the cost approach to value between $86 and $133 a square foot. Our market is indicating $102 to $155 a square foot. Our subject property is located right next to the comparables in the same neighborhood.
Thank you. Sir, I'm assuming you're the appellant in this case?
Pardon? I couldn't hear
You're the appellant? Are you Mr. Thorson?
you. Yes, I am.
All right, you just state your name and address, sir?
Vernon Thorson, 408 East Poplar Drive, Canton, South Dakota.
Thank you. And what do you want us to know today, sir?
Well, my last year's taxes increased 20%. Over the last 5 years, the house has increased 75%. I think those two numbers are kind of out of line. I don't know what would be comparable in Canton if everybody's gone to that percentage. Okay, another thing is water damage. There's nothing on there about water damage, and I had the 600 and some feet down in the basement that I don't even use anymore because of the water damage, because I've had it 3 times. And the comparable houses that I come up with is the 2 alongside of me and the 3 behind me. And the highest one is 158,000 compared to my 172. And the lowest is 145,000 compared to my 172.
Sir, how did the water damage happen and when did it happen?
Oh, it's happened over the last maybe 10 years, 3 different times. And it's because of the excessive amount of water that's coming through the air. But it comes in through the wall of the basement.
So condensation through the basement wall.
It ain't condensation, it comes through the
Oh.
walls, under the wall. and
Okay.
then onto the basement floor.
Okay.
I don't have tiling, because back then they didn't do tiling. I have 3 sump pumps that now takes care of it maybe, but I'm not sure, so I don't dare rebuild back, because I've torn up all the flooring. Even the baseboards have been redone, re-put back. I had to refinish them, but I still don't trust it enough to, I just use it as a regular basement now. I don't use it as any living area.
Is it down to the concrete wall?
Concrete walls, yes.
Okay.
Carla, have you been in this house?
How long? I built it in 1973.
No, my question was for staff.
Oh, okay.
We did not enter the home during reappraisal. Property owner did not
Could I,
respond to our assessment.
could I request a reassessment of, for them to come in and reassess it?
You'd be willing to let them into
Oh,
the
yes.
property?
I would be willing.
Carla, would your office be able to do that? I don't know if there's time.
For the 2021 assessment year, for,
Right.
It's
If you
never
can't,
been-
you can't.
I mean,
Is it
I
common
mean, I
protocol?
don't have a problem going in and doing it myself. I'm not sure about staff with COVID regulations and such, but I would personally do it.
What are the board's thoughts?
Well, it sounds like both parties agree that Director Equalization's willing to go in, subject to some COVID concerns, and the appellant is willing to have you go in. I guess the only issue is, can it be done in a timely manner?
I can do it anytime.
Are
I
you
just need a
retired, sir?
Day or two to know ahead of time.
Are you retired?
Yeah.
Or available?
I'm available all the time. I mean, most of the time. I do have some
Yeah, right,
commitments. but
right.
I
I
would
can
like
go
to
in
be
this
called and
afternoon.
let know a day or two or three ahead of time.
Can you do it this afternoon?
God, I don't think I could, no. I could do it,
Wednesday?
I think I could do it Wednesday.
I think you should work with the Director Equalization, because maybe they'll see something that they couldn't see before.
Right,
May help you.
yeah.
You're able to do that, Carla?
Yes.
So.
Anytime on Wednesday or,
How about 8 a.m.?
ooh.
He said he was retired.
Yeah, I'm retired, is right.
11 a.m.
How's that sound?
Okay.
We just need to get it done, sir, if we're gonna do it.
The assessor's land values, I know,
So-
are considerably higher. Do you agree with the land value or not?
On my valuation now?
The land.
No, I don't agree with it because of mainly the basement, but
Okay.
I haven't done anything to that house for 35 years.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna table this, based on what I'm hearing. So I'd entertain a motion to table this until, when would we table it to, Sherry?
We can do it Thursday? No?
No.
When can
we're
we do it,
full.
Carla?
Well, this would be a consolidated board, so our county boards are meeting Thursday from 1 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. on Thursday, so we could, no,
Wednesday is the 1 to 9.
that's true, Tuesday 1 to 9,
Yeah.
yes. Thursday, yep. Thursday, I think our last appeal is at 2:50 p.m.
So we could put it after that, but the board makeup might be slightly different between Consolidated and County, I guess. I'm not sure. You would maybe be the only one that would be different. Are you available?
Sure.
Okay, so Thursday at what time?
3 o'clock.
Yeah, I think I could make that. I got an appointment in Sioux Falls at 11.
You'll either have to make it or you won't make it. We've gotta make a decision on these.
Is there a later time that day or?
So if I come up with a recommendation after an inspection, I'll let you know what that is.
Okay.
And then if you agree, then you don't need to show up. I'll just present that recommendation to the board. Now, if you were to disagree with my recommendation, I mean, your best is to appear before the board and then tell them why you disagree with the recommendation. Otherwise, you can send in any type of paperwork at all, so they are able to make their decision.
Okay, so you're gonna be at my house on Wednesday?
Wednesday at 11 a.m.
11? And then, okay, then, the next
Appear
meeting-
before the board at 3 o'clock on Thursday.
Okay,
And he can call in if he wants to, and everybody's got to bend a little bit if you want some grace here.
Is that the way you prefer to call in, or would you?
no, I would just appear. Yeah,
All right,
so I'll be here, you'll be up at 11 on Wednesday, and I'll be here Thursday at 3. Okay, doke.
so
Appreciate it.
I'll ask
Thank
for a
you.
motion to table this until Thursday at
3.
3 o'clock.
I so move.
Thank
Second.
you, thank you. Sherry?
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes.
Commissioner Sean?
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon?
Yes.
Commissioner Landine?
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Yep,
We'll
thank you.
see you on
Appreciate it.
Thursday. Next item, Carla, we're on number 11.
Our next appeal is parcel number 200.14.34.006. Property located at 406 East Martin here in Canton, owned by Douglas Bryson Jr. It is a single-family property built in 1978. It's average quality, 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, no lower-level finish. We have a current assessed value of $143,612. We did not enter it during reappraisal. Our comparables are between the years 2018 and December of 2019, ranging from $136,500 up to $170,000 in purchase price. Felt the most comparable was comparable number 1. Same year essentially, built in 1979, same quality, same size. It does have 1 extra bedroom. Previously sold in 2016 for $124,900, and it sold 3 years later for $159,900. So you can see the trending in market valuations. Our subject property is being valued at $130 a square foot. Our cost range is between $81 and $166. The market is indicating a price range per square foot of $119 to $157 per square foot. Our subject property is in the east side of this map in pink, and the comparable one, which is the most comparable, is just a few blocks away from the subject property. Comp 2 and Comp 3 are to the west and north of the subject property. The assessor is recommending no change.
Sir, would you just state your name and address?
Doug Bryson, 406 East Martin, Canton, South Dakota.
Thank you. And what would you like us to hear today?
I had the house appraised last fall, and it appraised at $119,852. I believe I attached the appraisal with the. Yeah, they have the appraisal there, but yeah, any of these, I guess, for the value on the other houses, they don't have the elevator in their backyard or the railroad tracks or Dakota Fertilizer as well, but that's all to the north. So in the wintertime, you get all the harvest coming, you got the north wind and it blows all the corn dust down and makes a mess out of everything in your house. They said also on this appraisal that if I put in a new AC unit and redid the shingles and painted the house, it would be at 119.
How old is the roof?
I bought the house in 2007. And I want to say that it was 5 years old then, so.
And have you made any improvements to it?
I put windows in it, probably 8 years ago or so.
Does it have a basement?
It does have a basement.
Any water problems?
Yes, there is some in the east corner.
Does it pond or pool?
It pools down there in the northeast side. I think it might be a crack in the foundation that it's running through in the walls.
Do you have sump pumps in the house?
There is a sump pump, yes.
Finished basement? Or is it
Partially.
concrete?
Yeah, partially finished.
We have no finish.
Yeah,
But
I
you
seen
didn't
that.
have any flood damage like in 2014 when many people did it in Canton or not?
There was flood damage then too, yes.
Do you, you put on here, you value the land at 10,000, the assessor's office says land is at 14,805.
Yeah, that's close enough. I guess I don't.
You'd agree with the assessor's office about the land value?
Yeah, that would
Okay.
be fine.
And then, I see you attached a comparative market analysis here, which, not quite the same as an appraisal, but that's what you were referring to, right? When you said an
Yes.
appraisal?
Yeah,
Okay.
I did have it appraised I had a divorce and I had to have it appraised for that, so.
Was that a market analysis? Did it, like a realtor do it, or did you have a
A
certified?
realtor, yeah, Keller Williams Realty in Sioux Falls did it.
Did you have to, oh, hold on, I think I understand what Commissioner Landine is saying. Did you have to refinance the house as a result of the divorce?
I did,
So that's why you had to have an appraisal done.
correct.
So you had an appraisal, but then you also had this document here called a comparative market analysis.
Okay.
So you had did you have two different things done or just one?
Well, this, I guess there was
Or
an
not
appraisal
sure.
through another bank, I guess. This might have been comparative.
When you did the refi?
Yeah, probably,
Okay.
yeah.
What did you refi for?
To remove her name.
No, oh, sorry. What's the value? What was the dollar amount you did the refi for?
98,000, I believe.
Was it a cash out refi or just a
There was some
straight up?
cash out, yes.
Okay. What was the value of the house through the appraisal?
I don't honestly remember what the,
These adjustments on the market analysis, I did go through and they were indicating new roofs, and that's where they made some adjustments. I went through building permits in the city of Canton for these permits, or for these properties, and there weren't any permits for new roofs or, you know, the fences where they made an adjustment for a fence and a roof. So some of these adjustments were not justified.
Yeah, and the comps are from 53, 61, 63.
And I'm just curious why the property is worth so much less today than it was when it was purchased in 2007.
when it was purchased in 2007, I purchased it for 100,000.
It says, we said 118, I'll have to see if that's wrong. It looks like you paid 118.
Oh, there was a gift of equity because it was from an aunt of 18,000 for a down payment, is what they called it. But it was purchased for 100,000.
You mortgaged 100,000.
Yes.
And then you had cash of 100 or 18. You had cash of 18,000. So the total price that you paid for the home was 118, correct?
No, I purchased it for 100,000, but to get the loan, I didn't have enough money to do a down payment, so the gift of equity to 18,000. Because,
At the end of the day, you did record the sale as 118,000.
okay.
And I think we could all agree that our values are different. You know, 13 years later, there's appreciation. We don't have any finish in the basement that we are assessing him for. And half of it's finished.
I guess, Madam Chair, I would, my motion would be to leave the land at 14,850 and the assessor's recommendation of the house at 119,852.
All right, is there a second?
I just want to clarify that motion if I could. Commissioner Gibbon, you said the assessor's recommendation, or do you mean the realtor's recommendation?
I was looking at the assessor's recommendation of the land of 14,852, but the house.
She said the house was.
Changed the assessor's recommendation to 119,852.
Oh, okay, I think I understand what you're saying now. I'll second it.
Thank you. Sherry, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Sean,
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbons,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
No. Motion carries.
Is that,
Did you get those numbers?
yeah, so it didn't change?
It was whatever the motion was.
It did change.
It did
Okay.
change.
It valued the land at what the assessor said, and it
Okay.
valued the structure
At
at what
119.
your market analysis said.
Okay. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yep,
That's the way I understood my second to be.
okay.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead with the next item.
Our next appeal is parcel number 200.31.08.002. It's property located at 626 North Lincoln here in Canton. It's owned by Lauren Wallem. It's a single-family home built in 1900, average quality, 864 square feet, 1 bedroom, 1.5 bathroom. We don't have any lower level finish. We have a total assessed value of $99,190. The assessor is recommending no change. The home is below market value. Our 3 sales that we found in Canton range from 2018 to 2020 for time frame, and 117,000 to 130,000 for market range. Felt the most comparable was comparable number 1, sold for $117,000. We currently have the subject property assessed at $97 a square foot. The cost range was between $75 and $90 a square foot. The market is indicating a range between $100 and $113 a square foot. The subject property and comparable properties are all located very similar location to the subject property. And the assessor is recommending no change.
Go ahead, sir. State your name and address.
Lauren Wallem, 626 North Lincoln, Canton, South Dakota.
Thank you, sir. And what would you like us to know today?
Well, I guess my first note, when I sent it in, I don't think I put, but it was an unfinished basement. And I know it's an unfinished attic or upstairs in it, as far as the second level. I think part that kind of devalues my house is a couple of houses in the neighborhood. And I wrote them down on my note that I sent to you and gave you the addresses. And they're both, one's behind me, you could say, and then the other one is across the street to the north. And I know if I was to try to sell my house, people would be looking around and seeing what's there. And probably void the sale, you could say. And then it's just the idea that it's jumped, 57% just about in 2 years? That seems a little outrageous. And then it's also, what I feel, another thing that kind of counts against the value is the high traffic area there because of the high school. So basically 9 months a year, I got constant traffic through there. Jim might know about the traffic up by the high school. So like I say, I just feel it's above the retail value is what, if I was to try to sell it, it's.
You said your home has an unfinished upstairs?
Yeah, the attic part, or the second story. It's not very big, but it's.
Is it an actual attic with insulation in it, or is it?
Yeah, it's insulated. It
Oh.
could, easily be a bedroom, one bedroom up there without any problem if it was to be finished.
And then you have a basement?
Yes, the only thing down there is, well, some stuff, shelves for storage, and then washer and dryer.
Is it finished or unfinished?
Unfinished.
Okay, so just concrete walls?
Yes.
Okay. Sump pump?
No.
Any water issues?
I've had water issue the last time we had all the moisture, that one winter. Let's see, how many years ago would that be? 3 years?
How old is the roof?
Oh. I'm just guessing. I know they had to re-roof half of it at one time because of hail damage, so I would say, probably say 10 years. It's probably, one's probably a little bit less than the other.
Do you agree with the assessor's recommendation of the land being 15,026?
I really don't know, because I've never checked on property values and stuff too, but I guess I would have to agree with it without having somebody else come in and appraise it for me.
Do you have vinyl siding or wood siding there?
Vinyl.
Okay. How new is that?
How new? I'm sure it's 30 years old, because it was put on when I bought the house, so I don't know what year it was. It says I bought the house for sure.
What do you you say the structure's only worth 60,000? What do you base that on?
Well, the fact that it's unfinished basement and then unfinished attic, and then, like I say, it's the property values around my place, or a couple of properties that I feel would really downgrade the value of my house.
And Carla, you were in this house last year, were you not?
In 2019, yes, there was an interior inspection in July of 2019.
Has
We are
anything,
not-
has anything
It wasn't
changed?
you, was it? It was one guy that lived in Fairview, I think.
Possibly, yes.
Yeah.
Sir, has anything with the house changed since 2019?
I haven't really done any improvements on the inside of the house for, well, probably 20 years.
Thank you. Go ahead.
If I could just make a point, to your point about the neighbors in the neighborhood, if you look at the map that shows where these comparable sales have sold, they're all right in your neighborhood.
Mhm.
So likely they would have the same impact from the neighbors and
Well,
traffic
the
that
one
you
is a
do.
block west of me, the one that's up on there right now, and the other one, I don't remember where it was for sure.
All right, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion on this.
I'll make a motion to value the land at 15,026 and to value the house at 78,000.
I'll second that.
Sherry, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Sean,
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
No. Motion carries.
Okay, now, I got taxes due at the end of the month. Will this be taken care of before then, or how's that work?
It will not.
It just go for next,
For the 2021 assessment year, taxes paid in 2022.
okay, that's what I mean, what I owe them at the end of the month, I have to pay yet.
You don't get a
Yeah.
break this year.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
You bet. Item 13.
Our next appeal is parcel number 200.45.06.014. It's a property located at 910 East Fifth Street here in Canton. It's owned by Jonathan Mark Thorburn. It's a single-family residence built in 1963, 1,372 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, no finish in the lower level. It does have a carport. We have a current assessed value of $92,679. We did enter the home in 2020. This property was taken onto the State Board of Equalization, the Office of Hearing Examiners, which upheld the assessor value of $92,679. The assessor recommendation is no change. The property is below cost and the market value. The 3 comparables that we have before you show a date range between July of 2019 and June of 2020 with a market value indicator between the range of $127,500 to up to $159,900. Felt the most comparable was comparable number 3. It sold for $136,500 in December of 2019. Our subject property is being assessed at $58 a square foot. The cost is indicating a valuation range between $81 and $128 a square foot. The subject property is well below that. The market is indicating a market range between $89 and $145 a square foot. Again, our subject property is well below the lowest. You can see our map. We had to reach out quite a ways to find some comparables. Our subject property is in pink and our comparables are in blue. The assessor, again, is recommending no valuation change.
Thank you. Sir, will you go ahead and state your name and address, please?
Jonathan Thorburn, 910 East Fifth Street here in Canton.
All right, tell us what you'd like us to know, Mr.
Well,
Thorburn.
We get the same stuff. I got pictures here I can show you or whatever you want me to do, but I mean, the lot goes low, it goes on up, it banks way up in the back, as stated before and stuff. The property, big house behind me, years ago before that area was developed, dumped all their trash, garbage, junk over that hillside, and that's part of the problem up there. I brought some of that stuff with me, I can show you, and it's just, it keeps showing up. I mean, if having a junkyard's a good place to build, how come the city doesn't take their old city dump and put a housing development in down there? It'd be the same thing.
Could I see those pictures?
Yes, you may.
Says you got some water damage in your living room. What's that all about?
Well, this used to be a low-pitch tar and gravel house. If you look at one of the backside picture, it shows two, air vents. You can almost see where the two are on the front, on either side of the limb. The lower one was when I had a low-pitch tar and gravel roof on there. And then when we'd had this water dam, when I started having leaks, I tried to get somebody in to take care of a low-pitch tar and gravel roof. I could not find a person. I fought it. And finally, Mr. Corky Havilar said, well, we can put a pitched roof on your house because there's so many different angles to try to do a roof on it. And we'll just square out the roof, get a car shield out of the deal, and at a lot less cost.
Now, you got a big old crack here in your kitchen ceiling. What is that about?
That's
8 foot
where
long?
the had a really good water leak in there.
And
And then
then,
the picture before that one,
and then on the living room wall, you've got more water
well,
damage.
that I'm not sure what it was. The water damage that I'm showing on the ceilings, there's two in the living room. There's one in the bedroom. I took the glass off, but when we were having leaks through there, it was water dripping down through that fixture. There's one in the hallway showing stained water damage.
How old is the roof?
I'm trying to think when the heck we had that roof built, when we had the cover and all put on there.
Yeah,
That was quite a few years ago.
more than 10?
Oh, yeah.
And then
And
more
that-
than 15?
Pardon?
More than 15?
Yep, more than 15.
Okay. Do you have
Now-
basement?
Pardon?
Do you have basement?
I have a part basement and mostly all crawl space.
Okay, and assessed as crawl space. Okay. So your basement got steps that go down in there?
Yeah.
And then is there water damage in the basement?
No.
Okay.
The only time I had water in the basement was years ago, when the sewer was backing up. And we weren't putting anything down, trying to figure out what, got city out there, they said the sewer, the main line was okay, but then come to find out where the building is next door to me, where cable TV is, their sewer came out of that building and then cut in underneath my driveway and tied into my sewer line, the two going out together in a 6-inch. Then it was squared down reducer to a 4-inch and then out into the sewer.
What kind of siding is on there?
Right now I put vinyl siding on it. And the
Okay.
reason for that is that at the time, the old siding was just press board stuff. It was not in any condition to repaint, though I'd done it years before.
I got a
And-
question.
Okay.
Hold on, sir. Got a question for staff. What is going on here with this appeal that went to the Office of Hearing Examiners? What happened there?
The property owner appealed the assessed valuation, and commission at that time directed staff to go out and do an interior inspection, which we did. And that was after boards of equalization had concluded. We because of timing, we went out and did an inspection. So we were gonna recommend for the 2021 assessment year to have a lower valuation after inspection, because we noted some condition issues that Mr. Thorburn has indicated. We did an adjustment for the lot because of the slope and the usage. But in the meantime, he appealed it to the Office of Hearing Examiners. So we brought forth that recommendation that we would have had for 2021 to the Office of Hearing Examiners. And the Office of Hearing Examiners went with the assessor recommendation value of $92,679 after we had did an inspection in, believe it was towards the end of April of 2020.
Did his appeal to hearing examiners prevent you from being able to come back, though, with a different dollar amount? But for the appeal, you would have came back with those changes?
With that, with the Office of Hearing Examiners appeal, is what brought us to the recommendation value.
That interior inspection, adjusting the condition for, the things that he's pointing out today.
Right.
We did write up a full narrative, use path compliant report for that hearing.
So is that 2020 number, the 92,679, is that your number after you were in the house?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
It was 120.
Yes, it started off at $120,930.
And he obviously, you disagreed with that. That's why you went to OHE.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
So
Now-
you maintained your objection, and these guys had their objection. The OHE agreed with them, though. but it never got heard by the commission, it never got heard by the elected officials.
It was, but we were never.
You didn't get to it.
Until after that.
Right.
Right, they couldn't make a decision on it.
Right.
So that 92,000 never came in front of the elected officials to have their discretion. It was just an OHE appeal, right, use of discretion, yeah. So,
No, if I may, the picture you saw in the kitchen with that crack and that, it's bowed down about that far in there. Because it was watered, seeping in, and the only thing I could do at the time, I stuck a hole in the middle of it where the cracks were crossing to drain water out of there.
yeah, see, if this had been in
No.
front of the commission and they rendered a judgment on it, I may think a little differently, but it hasn't,
But
so.
now, if I may, those
Yep.
pictures in the living room with the peeled paint back, that happened after I had siding, or the vinyl siding and all that put on. And it's exactly where the studs are. I have no clue what caused it. I haven't been able to find anybody that could tell me about it. All I know is that when I originally had insulation put in over the ceiling and all was blown in, they checked on the sidewalls. They said, well, there's bad insulation in there. It's not heavy, but we can't blow anything in there. And probably the only way you can do anything with putting insulation in that is to tear off the inside walls and put in siding or put in insulation bat and whatever. Now the bathroom on the house years ago, it had a tub shower in there, but nothing on the walls other than paint. And I went to the work of putting block on there and getting it all, and that lasted a little while, but then things started peeling underneath in the water, so I finally said enough's enough. I had the tub and all that torn out. We tore out the outside wall because I put in a bath bay in there, which eliminated a window in there, which helped a lot. And then, of course, I used the crawl space. We moved that enclosed tub in, well, I mean,
So you've made some improvements.
Yeah, but I pushed that ahead, and then I used the crawl space to get in behind it and put in batten insulation and plastic and all that on there. But the rest of the stuff, you can't get up in the attic. I mean, there's an access hole inside, but all that does is you get your head stuck up there. All the rafters in there are plyboarded on one side and open on the other side of the studs and that. And there's about 3 places in there where, well, I mean 3 places. There's one place where there's a cut in the boards going through, but it'll go down a ways and then it'll jog over to the other side a ways and then be in the middle for a ways. So I don't know how you can try to crawl through there and one side to the other when you're crawling on basically just asphalt on the ceiling.
All right,
I mean,
thank you, sir.
And-
Commissioner Aaron's, do you have a motion?
I think Carla
If
wants
I
to say
may
something.
address
Oh,
the
go
board.
ahead.
Just for clarification, we originated a value in 2020 of 130,930. The local board, which was you folks, the Consolidated board, lowered it to 120,930 based on testimony from the appellant. We later then did an inspection and further lowered it to 92,679.
You have it valued well below, the market and the cost. And
Because
I'm
of
assuming
condition.
you've taken all of those conditions into consideration.
Correct.
When did the local board act on it? 2020?
2020.
Okay, so it did come up for review?
Yes.
Okay.
I just wanted to clarify that. I don't think I did that
No,
the first
yeah,
time. Yes.
yeah.
But I've been told that the only way that I can probably get anything done on there is to tear out the ceilings to find out, and replace stuff, because you don't know what kind of damage, water damage is done up there to the insulation and whatnot. The sidewalls have to be all torn off to
Sure.
re-insulate. So I mean, what are you gonna spend? 50,000 to get it up to snuff?
Right, we've heard what you have to say. I gotta keep this moving,
Yeah,
so,
I understand. I don't
I'm
know if
gonna
you
ask
guys
for a
wanna hang on
motion.
onto this from the backyard or what, but
I'm gonna ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion to value the land at $13,477 and to value the house at $69,202.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Sherry, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Sean,
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
No. Motion carries.
On a separate note, are you 100% disabled, vet?
no, right now I'm 40%,
Oh,
but they're working at more.
okay. I was gonna say, if you're 100%, you need to get with these folks because you can
Thank you.
get some relief.
But, like I say, I don't know how I can, without spending buku bucks, I'm on a fixed income, I mean. Did you people want this stuff too, in the backyard? So
No,
you know
sir.
what it is, or?
No, sir, we don't want it.
I'm sure you don't, but I brought it along to show you what. And I don't go digging for it, and you can take a metal detector and go over that back hill, and it does nothing but beep for all the metal that's down in there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your service.
You want your pictures back, John? Your pictures are here if you want them.
Well, I've got a set of them here. I don't know if you guys want to hold on to those or what.
Okay.
Oh, it's up to you.
Well, if you don't have a use for them, I'll take them.
All right.
Next item.
Our next appeal is parcel number 200.49.01.001B. It's located at 320 North Lawler here in Canton. It is a multifamily property built in 1901. It's a 5-story apartment building, which includes 26 units. We originated a valuation in 2021 of $1,125,531. When we look at all three approaches, sometimes we're missing the income approach. The appellant has supplied us with an income approach to value and also a broker opinion for the price for the property. After looking at the income approach to valuation, the assessor is recommending to lower the value down to $929,051. We do have some apartments that have sold. Now when we're comparing some of the comparables, we're looking at a price per unit. Sometimes those price per units come in the form of a cost approach to value because the income approach to value isn't always supplied to us by the comparable properties unless it's through an appeal process. The subject property is recommending to be lowered to $30 per square foot or $35,733 per unit. Our cost is a range between $24 and $46 a square foot, or a range of $21,898 to $48,462 per unit. The market is indicating a wide range between $21 a square foot to $81, or a market unit price of $22,333 to $80,000 per unit. The subject property is currently recommending to lower the price per unit of $35,733. And that is the income approach to valuation that is done for all properties in Lincoln County. It's a standardized form. And I believe we have the appellant online, or excuse me, on the phone.
Yes, we're here.
Good morning. Go ahead and state your name and address, and then go ahead and let us know what you'd like us to hear.
Okay, it's Carla Lem, 47468 280th Street, Worthing, South Dakota, 57077. And Cameron Gage is with me, who is the property manager. And we just wanted to just state a little bit of history on this building. If you're all familiar, this is the old main building, located up there by Keystone. So, in our opinion, it's very hard to value this building on an income-based approach. It's a building not comparable to others in the area, obviously being built in 1901 and being a landmark, kind of like the Lincoln County building of the community. I know in the 90s, I believe this property was sold by the city for $1 to save it from demolition. And it's being a piece of the community, we are glad it was salvaged, but the company that had bought it at the time renovated it into apartments. And when we bought it in 2013, it was in very sad shape. The company that owned it at the time was out of Minnesota, so they were not local. And when we took it over, we tried to do the repairs that would keep it functional and bring back a little bit of the past beauty of the structure. The rents, we kept them reasonable and were able to bring it up a notch at the same time. But the capital expenditures that were needed are not reflected in an income-based approach. And these repairs that we did needed to be done. And actually, even as we speak, a whole new boiler system needs to be replaced. The massive area of common carpeting needs replacing. The rubber area of the roof needs replacing. But just to accommodate just the increase in the property taxes that we've been assessed, we've had to raise the rents that will accommodate the tax, but it doesn't help with any of the repairs that are needed on a building like this. So, I mean, the appraisal we had done based on market value, that we had an outside appraisal, was $800 to $950, but obviously even that now is going to be valued less because of the doubling of the property tax. So anyway, it's just hard to value on an income-based approach when occupancy is up and down. And now we hear more apartments are planned for Canton, which will even make it harder to keep ours full. So, and then if we're based on an income-based approach, if we raise our rent, so then are we going to be taxed even more if we have more income? So it's just, that's kind of where we are on the whole thing, and we'd be welcome to hear any questions you might have for us.
Carla, which approach did you end up using finally?
The income approach. The cost approach to valuation brought us in at $1,125,531. That was the cost approach to valuation. The income approach, the assessed value came in at $929,051.
So you lowered it based on the income approach.
Based on
The
the
others were higher?
Yes, that is correct. Yeah.
Well, I guess send the buyers if it's worth that much.
In the broker price opinion that was given to the office for review, the broker even indicated that some of the expenses within the property are well over standard, such as management fees, cleaning fees. They're all excessive to what is considered average or normal in an apartment building, and not just a little bit, extremely. Our range for management fees go anywhere from 6 to 8%, and this particular property is being managed at about 60. Can you? David is the appraiser that has been dealing with the appellant and has done the research on it. If I could hand the mic over to him.
Absolutely. Sir, I'm sorry. What's your name?
So my name is David Erdman. I'm an assessor here with Lincoln County.
Okay.
I had the time to go through the BPO, and also their income statements or profit and losses that they gave me. The typical, as Carla was saying before, typical management fees are right around 6 to 8%. When you start getting into 8% and higher, it's typically your low income housing because due to the higher risk and extra legwork. And the BPO also addressed that with the management fees being quite high. Typically we see, I think it's right around 40 to 45% expenses of EGI for age and condition of a building of this age, and they were with just those with janitorial and management, they were well over 47%. So during, can I get to that? Oops, sorry. So yes, on this slide here, that one there. That one there, it's fine. So yes, on this slide here, we took into account the national average for national, state, and local average for the property management fees, as long as with the repairs and maintenance of $500 to $600 a unit. I also added in, and they did not have reserves to account for some of these other expenditures that they would see over time. And yes, that came into at that 929,051. And all these things that I addressed were also addressed in that BPO. So,
When was this property purchased?
2013.
By the current owners?
Correct.
Okay. I have a question for the appellant. You said that a number of repairs had to be made. What do you estimate the repairs needed to be on the boiler system?
Just to rebuild them would be 20,000, but we're looking at replacing them. They're 26 years old.
Sir, can you tell us your name, please?
Cameron Gage.
Thank you.
So 26,000 to fix the boiler?
20,000 to rebuild them, yes.
20,000.
Minimum 20,000 to rebuild them.
And then you said that there needed to be a carpet replacement. What is that?
A minimum of 30 grand. It's a lot of square feet.
Is there any other
That's
work?
just in the hallways.
The
carpet there is 26 years old.
Is there any other work that needs to be on the property besides the boiler and the carpet?
Yes, the rubber roof needs to be replaced as well.
What is that replacement value estimated to be?
I haven't gotten a price on that, but I'm sure it will spoil the looks of 50 grand if it's a penny.
And that doesn't include any of the capital expenditures that have been done since 2013.
What do the apartments rent out for?
With what we just did, they been raised $50 a piece. So the lowest one starting June 1 will be $575, and the top one, the highest priced one on a 2-bedroom is $825.
Are you at full capacity now?
No, we're not. And that varies. We've been at full capacity, but then you might have a period of time you have 7 open, or you might have 4 open, or, it's a revolving door when it comes to renters.
One of the difficulties with doing the income approach to value is the fluctuations in expenditures over years. That's why typically you want to look at more of a trend. And that's why you use reserves and you account for that every year.
Question for the appellant. You stated the reason for your appeal was assessed valuation is substantially higher than recently appraised value. What was the recently appraised value?
The value that it was appraised, oh, sorry. value it was appraised for was anywhere from, there was a range given from 800,000 to 950.
So when they say
Previous to the tax increase.
so that's the broker price opinion. That's reflected on the staff slide.
Did you apply any kind of obsolescence or depreciation factor to the property based on its age?
In doing the cost approach to value, yes.
Okay.
But this, our recommendation is based on the income.
Gotcha.
Which reflects competitive properties in similar condition.
Thank you. Staff, do you have anything else you'd like to add? All right. Appellants, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No.
Okay. I'd consider a motion.
I'll make a motion. My motion is to value the land at $57,000. And my motion is to value the structure at $825,000.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Sure, we call the roll, please.
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Sean,
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbons,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
No. Motion carries. And we will be in recess until 1 o'clock.
So the consolidated board will reconvene at 3 p.m. on April 22nd.
Right, we're done for today, and then we have our county boards at 1. Nothing today. All right, great.